Yo, what is up, everybody? So this is kind of cool today. It's seems like it's got no one here at the park, which is nice. It's a Thursday morning, technically. Yes, it's around I think 10 a.m. So this is maybe the time that we come out here. I usually come out here later, around noon, because the sun is highest, and that's when it's best for your skin and to get the most absorption of vitamin D. It's healthy for you. But anyways, today we're going to talk about why you should not work hard. So I have a couple things I want to talk about here when I talk about talking about work in general, but also why, yes, specifically you shouldn't work hard. So I guess we could talk about just straight off the rip, or right off the bat, why you shouldn't work hard. So at most companies that you'll work for, if you work hard, the effort and the amount of stress and work that you put forward is not going to be worth the amount of money that you're going to make for working extra hard. Because one, typically what happens at most companies is they kind of just string you along, and if you work hard, you do this, you do that, maybe we'll look at promoting you. Next thing you know, 6 months goes by, still no promotion. A year goes by, still no promotion. 2 years go by, still no promotion. And probably at this point, you want to leave. I mean, you probably should have left before this, but by the 2-year mark, you're like, you know what? I'm done. I want to leave here. And they don't really care, because they could just replace you with another person. So whatever. They'll just pay someone probably even less money than they had for you, because maybe you got like a 25-cent increase over the years for your experience, or 50% increase. So now they can start someone back at day one. And yeah, you still don't get that promotion. So at the end of the day, you're just a number basically anyways, because there's always people looking for a job, right? So yeah, hard work typically doesn't pay off in my experience from what I've seen, and I wouldn't recommend anyone trying to work hard. Not only because typically it doesn't pay off, because like I just said, the companies don't actually follow through with their promises, but on top of that, in general, you shouldn't work, one, in general, because any stress in your life actually decreases your lifespan. So work is obviously stressful. Something that's even more stressful is doing something like working out. So working out, at least if you're working, you're stressing your body and making some money, which yes, doesn't exist, but at least money can get you food, or better food, provides housing and shelter and stuff like that, right? So, but when you do work, or if you have to, which everyone kind of like has to, at least here in America, like it's in California, it's relatively easy, as far as I understand it, to get on unemployment, but I don't think you can stay on it forever, right? So yeah, if you can not work, then do that and get money from the government or some kind of living assistance if possible, because you want to be healthy and live as long as possible. And living is a healthier state. Like the most unhealthy state is being dead, right? So you want to try to avoid that at all costs and as much as possible. So leading the least stressful life is going to be the best option for everyone. And not working helps with that, right? So, but if you do have to work, what I recommend, which is what I'm going to be doing, because I have to make money at some point, right? Everyone needs to make money for food and whatnot. So what I recommend is working as little as possible. I highly recommend no one ever works more than 40 hours a week. And if you can get some kind of like office job with like minimal stress, that's probably the best option. I think some like truck driving jobs are pretty good, but at least for me, like I don't know if I can really stand doing driving too much, because they're on the road. There are definitely a lot of people, at least where I'm from, that do not know how to drive, and they're terrible, and that can be stressful if you're basically having to drive defensively all the time and try to avoid idiots on the road, right? So but yeah, hard work typically never pays off, and then basically you just pay with your lifespan, and this reality anyways, like the world that we live in. And I know a lot of people, at least here in America, they think that they have to work hard all the time. They just constantly go, go, go. They get dark eye bags and under eye circles, or like dark eye circles, and they're just always stressed, like lots of wrinkles on their face, even at a younger age. So if you want to basically be unhealthy by the time you retire and possibly pass away like right after you retire, then work 60, 70, 80 hours a week, do intense labor, like, I don't know, maybe what are those guys on the big rigs, or not big rigs, the oil tankers and the oil drills out in the ocean, do a job like that, or some kind of like tough construction, shoveling, stuff like that. If you want to pass away quicker, if that's your goal. I don't really know why that would be your goal, but I think a lot of people do those types of things because they think that they have something to prove to other people. I actually think that, you know, now that I think about it, this could be a maybe a subtopic, but you know, we could just put this in this video because it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be a super long point, but I do think that people work harder and longer to show off to others. Basically, they don't even like do it for themselves. So, you know, like people talk about they go to the gym for themselves, but people always, I feel like a lot of people do a lot of things that are physically demanding, or, you know, like the working out and things like that too, because they're doing it for others. It's basically like a image thing, I guess. I don't really know, but pretty much all it does is make you look like the biggest slave, right? Like if you work 70, 80 hours a week, like you're just a giant slave, right? Because if I break it down simply for you, like, do kings or servants work? Obviously servants do, right? Because servants are serving the king, and the kings don't work, right? I mean, technically a king doesn't do everything that they want to do, but kings are the ones who don't work, right? The slaves and the servants are the ones who work. So if you're someone who is doing more of that, you're literally just being more of a slave. Like, I don't know. It's kind of funny to me, but it's interesting now that I'm thinking about it, because I do feel like people do it for attention, which is weird. Like, they're working harder to, I guess, make more money, to buy things that they don't really need and to show off to other people, but then on top of it, they're also working harder because other people want them or will view them better if they work harder, I guess. And the reality is that's like not the truth. Like, in general, most people don't give a shit like what you do. Like, no one's gonna give a shit if you have, like, I know some people here especially, they're like short man disease and they get like a big truck, and like the big truck's not gonna make you cooler with everyone, or I don't even know like who they're trying to impress like when they do that. Maybe it's like a comfort thing, but that is one thing that I will say. Life can be somewhat less stressful if you are working harder, because then you aren't worried about money. Because I've been unemployed for a while. I did like a lot of traveling and stuff like that, so it was fine. But then I came back home, and if you do have that stability, if you will, right, we'll call it that, it can be a lot less stressful. So I guess that would be one positive where you can associate with working and having a decent job. It will be useful for you, so you won't have the stress of, you know, bills and whatnot, because nowadays it's extremely expensive to live, right? But yeah, because then if you're just basically living off of savings, right, then you don't have that certainty of money. I mean, you have the money, right, like you have savings, but you don't have, like, eventually that savings is gonna go away, right? But I think finding the balance, that's why, like, for me for example, I guess I'll just use me as an example because it's like easiest for me to relate to and kind of talk about, and then so that way I'm not like talking about other people, right? Yeah, I think like working like 20-25 hours a week would be good. Living as minimal as possible. Obviously you're not going to be able to do all the things that you maybe want to do, I'm not really sure why. For example, maybe if you want to go golfing or something like that, I'm not really sure why you'd want to do that, but maybe you would want to do that. You're not going to be able to pay for like extracurricular activities, right? Because you don't have a job or you're working 25 hours a week. So I think that there's a way to have like a healthy balance, and then if you do work, you have a less stressful job. Like for example, you're not doing some kind of type like serving type job where you're running around, or doing like oil drill job like out in the ocean where you're slaving stuff around, and like doing 12 hours of like hard manual labor, right? So anyways, I'm gonna enjoy the sun a little bit more, and I have another video to get to, so I hope you guys appreciate this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.